Hey, everybody, it's Doug Green, and I'm the publisher of Technology Reseller News. And we're back with another edition of Pots and Shots with Jake Jacoby of TELCLOUD. Jake, thank you for joining me again.
Thanks, Doug. Good to be here.
So, today we're going to be talking about one of our favorite topics, CPaaS. And we're talking about Beyond the Lines, how CPaaS powers modern telecom. So, Jake, we'll jump right into it. Jake, CPaaS is at the core of TELCLOUD's solution. What inspired you to build an as a service model for telecom infrastructure in the first place?
Yeah, great question. So I think when it comes down to POTS line replacement, there's a lot of boxes out there. And it's a nice concept that you can just buy a device, throw a SIM in it, and it's going to work. The reality of it is if you maybe just have a home phone, yes, that might work. But really the business that we're in is we are the backbone for telco, and we are a telco provider, and we need to support our partners, technology alliance partners, reseller partners, to bring telco grade solutions at scale. The only way you do that is with systems, right? So yes, there is a box involved, right? It is a very advanced box, but that box needs to talk to cloud infrastructure, systems that keep it up to date, keep it secure, remotely manage it, understand where it's going, push updates to it, push security patches to it, just like you would any network. So the box and the deployment on premise becomes part of the platform, right? And so think of it as just like, edge devices to be able to support this telecommunications infrastructure. So if you were to do that on an individual basis, it's cost prohibitive, right? So the way that you do it is just like, you don't build your own little cell towers, you leverage infrastructure like Verizon, right? That put
Right.
all the towers out there. So that's what TELCLOUD did. And in order to kind of have a business model that's going to work, is we have a channel model where we are that back end engine, right? And we need the rest of the car, right? We need the reseller partners to bring it to their organizations. Well, in order to do this at scale, again, it's all about systems. My background is software, highly scalable SaaS, so software as a service. So that's the mindset that I always come from: recurring revenue, SaaS. How do you scale? How do you build systems? How do you improve, make things better, and everybody benefits from it? That's exactly what we've done with telco. Instead of SaaS, because it's not just software, it's a communication platform as a service, right? So that allows us to offer the best in the industry, tied to the best hardware out there with the best software, and delivering it without breaking the bank. So doing it at scale and leveraging this infrastructure so that these reseller partners can bring the best technology to their customers.
Jake, I normally don't think of POTS replacement and CPaaS in the same breath or same sentence. So, how does CPaaS enable flexibility and scalability for resellers delivering POTS replacements and beyond?
Yeah. So if you think about it to the original example, let's say we have a box that does POTS replacement, right? So what does that actually hit? It's a box. It has connectivity. It has a battery, and it converts analog to digital. That's a box. Okay. Well, if I went and I got that box and I put it out there in the field, right? And that was my only thing that I had to do. That's manageable. Well, now take it to hundreds of locations, thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of locations. How do you manage that? Right? You just it's not physically possible to do it without a platform. So part of what we do at TELCLOUD is we think about the problem, we address the technology and the problem, and then we look at ways to scale this. how do you use 3PL services to deploy this? How do you get field services organizations to install it correctly so that that the service is going to be guaranteed and work? So you have to do that at scale. And the only way that you do that is with a platform. So from the very get-go, we build the platform that the organizations can use. And what it does is it allows them to run the business and be successful in the business, right? You can be successful with individual boxes at small scale. 10, 20, maybe 100, then you start maxing out. So if you want to do this at scale, which our partners need to, we have partners as big as the largest carriers in the world need to deploy this, you have to have a platform and systems. And so that's why we built it that way, right?
It sounds though, when I think of CPaaS,
Mhm.
I also know you can kind of get lost in the wilderness of the details. And I know that a lot of our MSP and channel partner people, that's sort of fine on some occasions, but is this as simple as advertised? Because we've been talking in pots and shots about, hey, this is a straightforward solution.
Yep. That's it. That's another great question. So the key to being successful with something like this is you have to have multiple views, right?
Hmm.
So a customer, what are they going to want? They're going to want potentially an organized bill, maybe a dashboard that tells them everything is working. Here's all my locations, here's my services, and green across the board, right? That's all they want. They want to know that it's working, what I'm paying for, I'm getting, and if I have any issues, I can log in. Now, somebody who's delivering the service, like a back-end TELCLOUD or reseller partner or the technology, the telco on the back end, we need much deeper controls, right? So what the platform does is it's got all of that, right? From the deep security audits and records and traces and cellular signal and everything for a global network. I have all of that at my fingertips. So very complicated, to the nice, easy dashboard for the customer. So, and everything in between, because as you pointed out, not all of our partners can do that, the deep dive, right? So they rely on TELCLOUD to do that for them. And so we are the ones in control of that to help them so that they don't have to worry about it, right? And they may be in this medium view, here's all my customers and here's all their dashboards. But the platform allows us to give each customer or reseller or partner the tools that they need in order to be successful in this business. And so that's why we have a platform, that's why it scales, and that's how we've built our global network.
Well, Jake, it's that time again in the Pots and Shots series. We are, if you haven't watched us before, we are taking a tour of the world's very best tequilas. Jake, what do you have for us today?
I have one that I love all tequila, so I always say that. It's kind of redundant, but another Reposado. So this Reposado is called Don Fluano.
Ah,
It's a lot easier to find out in liquor stores and things like that. It is a Reposado, so you'll notice the kind of
very
yellowish
gold.
color. It's
Yeah.
been gold. It's been rested in an oak barrel. The other cool thing about it is that you've got a handwritten lot number on this, as well
Oh,
as a
wow.
handwritten bottle, right?
So this
So
is handmade stuff.
handmade, it's made the traditional way. So I think we've
Oh,
talked
that's
about that
beautiful.
in the past. So there's, this isn't big machinery doing this. This is more traditional. They used to use, cook it in ovens and use a big stone to squeeze the agave with a donkey that goes around. And so more traditional type of way, smaller batch, but fantastic, smooth tequila. You can find it again. You'll see they have a Blanco, Reposado, and Añejo, X-ray Añejo. This is the Reposado, and it's called Don Fluano. And I highly recommend. You can actually see the picture of the agave plant right here in the hands, but
Yeah.
handmade and
And the bottle's
fantastic.
like a work of art. And even that,
Mhm.
there's like a ribbon at the very top, at the
Yeah,
very
just a
top of the
little.
spout. Yeah, there's like
Yeah,
a thing that you don't see that all the time. Something that's
yeah.
kind of cool.
It actually says "drink mindfully."
Ah, okay. That's a good idea, by the way, everybody.
Exactly.
We're these are, by the way, I'm glad you brought that up because these are sipping tequilas.
Right.
You don't put them in a margarita. You don't put them in a cocktail,
Right.
right? You
Yeah.
sit there like a gentleman and you sip it slowly.
This is not college get drunk off of Jose Cuervo type of tequila.
Yeah,
Yes. No.
where you sort of brace yourself and then down it goes. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, Jake,
Absolutely.
thank you for ongoing tour of the great tequilas of the world. Thank you also for today's episode. Like I said, I would not have thought about CPaaS, but I think it's very important to note that TELCLOUD is actually selling more than just a one-of option.
Right.
There's a dimensionality to what you're doing here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, we'd love to partner with you and help. And again, you brought it up and kind of touched on it. You know, you don't have to be an expert in this business, right?
Right.
You can uncover opportunities. You have a relationship with customers. We can help you, right? They need help. There's not enough time, you know, to do this conversion, and so you need partners. You need platforms to help you scale to, you know, what needs to be done in the marketplace. So we'd love to talk to you. You can hit us up at telcloud.com or give us a call at 844-900-2270. We'd love to talk to you.
Jake Jacoby, everyone of TELCLOUD, and if you haven't seen the other episodes of Pots and Shots, they're up on the website. There's all the information you need at telcloud.com. Also, you can just sit back and listen to these podcasts and hear all the different information that's important to know. This is a huge, right now, 2026 opportunity. Jake, thank you, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it.